Hey guys, salvage knifing tool here. Just going to talk a little bit about grinding. So this is a jig I built off of another video I saw. I think it was Go Knives, G-O-U-G-H. It's a T. It's got a eye bolt in it, adjustment holes, and then these holes are for stops for the knife. Then get yourself a file and a nice long steel rod. Alright, so you bolt the knife down, put the rod in, and you move back and forth, and that gives you your angle. Alright, you put your main bevel and your secondary bevel on that way. A couple of things I found when building it is make it double thick. A single layer wouldn't really hold up, so I built mine out of 1x6. And then when you're putting these holes in, and you just use big fat screws, bolts, they will thread the holes when you put it in, when you drive it in. It's a long way to grind the main bevel, but it's super inexpensive. I mean, piece of rod from the hardware store and a file, no big deal. Eye bolt and a couple of bolts. So super easy, just takes longer. If you have some kind of a bench grinder, this is another little jig I built out of a piece of angle iron and a piece of regular and then just a piece of flat steel, and put a couple bolts through it with nuts, and then you put double nuts, or put a single nut and then thread this hole, right? And then raising and lowering these bolts adjust your grinding angle on your bench. One trick for that is sticking a piece of metal of the same size on the bottom so that it holds it squarely. Otherwise it'll want to tip the knife at an angle, and you just loosen that up, stick your knife in, and then you're running that back and forth across the face of your grinder. One other thing that I found out is my bench grinder doesn't have a very big table, so I have a piece of steel that I clamp onto there so that I can stay on the bench doing the full range. And depending on which side of the knife you're doing, it's going to want to go long on one side and then long on the other when you switch it. I just use one piece of steel and I just move it down, so I don't have to have a 3-foot chunk of steel hanging off the end of the grinder. If you want to do freehand beveling, it's a bit more difficult, and I can't measure that kind of thing with my eye, so I found this. It's called a bubble jig. Not super expensive as long as you have some kind of a bench grinder, and comes with a level, comes with a bunch of machined blocks. They're out of some kind of composite that are labeled, and it comes with 2 hex keys. One hex key is for your handle, just goes in there, tighten it down, make sure I have a line on there so that I know that I'm straight with the blade. And then it's a different size that adjusts the bubble. And I mean, the guy who made these, if you Google him, he has videos how to use it on YouTube. It's super easy. And just take this block, set it on your grinder, at an angle that, I mean, you set the grinder at an angle that's comfortable, and then put that in there, and then you adjust the level. You loosen up that side nut and adjust the bubble so that it's level. This is actually set for 10 degrees right now. And then you can freehand the blade across the grinder. All you have to do is center that bubble while you're moving, and gives you a nice straight line. Works pretty well. It takes a little bit more patience and practice, but I mean, as far as freehanding, you know, with a little eye guide, it really makes it a lot easier, and it's a lot quicker than flipping it around in the jig. All you have to do the other side is turn it over and put the level on the other side. It's just got a magnet on there. You just put it up against the bolt, straighten it out, you're ready to do the other side. So, and it's not super expensive. I think, you know, for what you get, it's not a bad deal at all. I want to say 35 bucks ish. The other option didn't work very well for me, but I got a super adjustable table. You know, it's attached by a ball, and that replaces this table. And you know, you can use an angle finder and adjust that table to where you want it. I don't know, just didn't work very well for me. So right now my preferred method is the bubble jig. And then I'll start out with like a 10-degree angle and remove some material and get that going. And then I'll just keep adjusting the angle down until I get to my mark. And I want to be at this mark, and then I put my 2 marks on the edge there, and so I'll go down on each side until I hit that mark and leave me with a, I don't know, 1/16 of an inch in the center. Just makes it so it doesn't warp. I find I have a lot less failures, a lot less warpage when I leave that fat edge on when I grind it down. Any questions? Feel free to leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Thanks a lot.